Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts College Football Podcast, your ticket to all things college football. Are you looking to get your college football fix? Looking to get the latest news on your favorite school's team? Join us as we talk college football from the national championship to college rivalries to bowl games to the Heisman Trophy to which conference is the best. We've got you covered for the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything in between.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast on a Friday, the college football edition of this podcast. And I'm your host, Tom Dougherty, as always, for this college football edition. And as always, we are brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, as we are going to do some more talk about Kyler Murray. And that's obviously the biggest story in college football right now, is the fact that Kyler Murray, front runner for the Heisman, a front runner to be one of the better quarterbacks in Oklahoma Sooners history. Right after they get Baker Mayfield drafted first overall and wins a Heisman, they thinking that, okay, we're going to get this other recruit in there, get him over from Texas A&M. He's going to be our next guy. Oh wait, he's really good at baseball. He got drafted 9th overall by the A's, and like I said, we're already hearing. I don't know what it's saying. It's reports out. No, it's $4.7 and change $1 million that is slotted for that draft pick. That's how it is. It's nearing $5 million. That's how it is. It's not like they're negotiating. The A's could negotiate to put a little more on there to lure him away from the Sooners. Now, the reports out are saying that he is going to play this year for the Sooners. He's allowed to play. You guys have heard my rant already on the fact that I do agree with the rule that they could play football while being under contract with a pro baseball team. But it just doesn't make any. It's kind of a double standard. They're contradicting themselves. They're allowing an amateur player. The point of amateurism is that you aren't paid. It's that you have a scholarship. Oh, but you can keep your scholarship if you play baseball. If you're good enough to play baseball, but if you're good enough just to play football and be really good at it and have be visible and be marketable for a big program like Tua or like Shea Patterson at Michigan. There's lots of different. Multiple guys out there who I could bring up. No, you can't use your likeness. You can't use your talents to make money off of it. But if you play baseball, it's fine. But you go listen to my rant on Wednesday. I did it. I don't want to do another one. We're not going to do that again. But also, I do want to go over. I think we're going to do that in the first couple of segments here. We're going to talk about the tough non-conference games coming up. I know we did talk about some games for week 1 that are going to have big implications, where teams can have their seasons made or broken in week 1 of the season, like Michigan Notre Dame game is a big one. Washington and Auburn is a big one. Even Alabama and who are they playing? Louisville in the first game, and then LSU is playing Miami as well. So all those teams, big teams, playing each other in these non-conference games. Also, we could look at these tough non-conference schedules, and we'll jump right into it now, and then we'll come back and do some Kyler Murray talk in the final 2 segments. Also, there's some more news coming out. I know some talk on the Ohio State receivers and the good things they've been doing, but we'll go into the tough non-conference schedules first. First of all, number 1 is Pittsburgh. They have to go again. They're playing Penn State and Notre Dame. So they're out of their conference. Notre Dame, the thing is, Notre Dame does, I think, even though they're independent, they do have a deal with the ACC to be part of their scheduling. They kind of have to do that in order to get games, scheduled, because they have to fit themselves in other teams' schedules as well. So I think they need to make a deal with the ACC to get like half their schedule filled with ACC teams. So Notre Dame will face Pitt, and that is on September 8th, and that's going to be at at Pitt. So pretty cool there. At Notre Dame. Penn State's the other game. That's September 8th. I mean, that's in everything. That's the interstate rivalry right there. That's going to be at Pitt. The Notre Dame game will be in South Bend at Notre Dame Stadium there. That'll be October 13th. Sorry, October 13th. And then the week before that, a couple weeks before that, they had to play at UCF as well. So UCF, obviously, new head coach. They still have a lot of talent in there. A team that didn't lose a game last year, but they're going to get tested as Pitt will have to play them. So, they have the first two games. They play Albany, they play Pitt. So, Penn State, as the Pitt Panthers will definitely have a test at their non-conference games. USC, another private school. Obviously, USC every year plays Notre Dame, but this year they're actually playing Texas. So they're going to play at Texas September 15th. They also have to play UNLV, which can be kind of a trap game. They'll be at home, so should be able to do it. Should be able to be fine. But they're going to have to play UNLV. And then they go right into Stanford, which obviously is in conference, not a conference game. But when you go UNLV, boom, Stanford, boom, Texas to start off your season, that can be kind of shocking. And then obviously they will be hosting Notre Dame come Thanksgiving. And Notre Dame always comes to California, whether it's to Stanford or to USC at the end of November every year. So it's a big recruiting tool for the Fighting Irish. That's how they get a lot of kids from California to come out there, because they're gonna you're gonna play in your home state during the holidays. You have some family come out and watch you play, so why don't you come play for us over in South Bend? And obviously Notre Dame is a great school in itself. But yeah, USC definitely having to travel like that. I think the game they're going to have to finish up on. They're going to start on the road at Stanford, so it'll be back-to-back road games for the Trojans there. Then they go to Stanford. That could be that's always a tough environment to play in against a hard physical team. David Shaw always tends to have a good offensive line. Obviously, got Bryce Love. We'll see if it's going to be CJ Costello there for the Cardinal to be their quarterback. Well, you don't even know who the USC quarterback is going to be yet either, but they're going to get tested. I think they're going to get tested even in the opening game against UNLV at home. It's the first game of the year. It's always kind of a get your feet wet game. And then, boom, you go right into Pac-12 play with Stanford, and then you go back outside the Pac-12 play and have to go play Texas in Austin, which is never an easy environment. So their first two road games of the year are going to be in a very hostile territory against two teams that are, considered rivals for sure for the USC Trojans. Also, Florida State, they have a pretty tough non-conference schedules. They also play Stanford. That's September 8th. That's Samford. I'm like, wait, September 9th. The Stanford's playing USC week 2. Samford, and then Northern Illinois, Notre Dame, and then Florida. So Florida, they will have their in-state rivalry game on Thanksgiving week. So that's November 24th. And then they play November 10th at Notre Dame. So they go at Notre Dame, and then don't sleep on the Huskies. Northern Illinois, they're not shabby. They're a good team. And with the quarterback situation going on in Florida State, we talked about it a lot on Wednesday. By September 22nd, we could see a change if they start with James Blackman, and he's stumbling in the first 2 weeks. I don't think that he stumbled against Samford. Samford could be a trap game. Obviously, the second that's week 2, and then going into Northern Illinois, you never know. It's going to be a home game, so fortunately, Doak Campbell Stadium will be packed. And they'll have, we'll see if it will be DeAndre Francois or James Blackman. I think by the time they do play Florida, though, obviously everything will be figured out. We'll kind of have an idea of how their season's going to go anyways, if they've taken a loss or not yet. But that game against Florida will be a big one. If they can get through that, if they're undefeated going into Florida and they can get through Florida, that'll be a nice little indicator for what you can see for Florida State. But obviously playing the ACC, you got to play Clemson. You got to play. Actually, I don't know if they play Clemson this year. We probably looked at the Florida State schedule like 50 times, but I never can seem to point out the right teams there as get that Florida State schedule for this season. I don't think they play Miami. They got to play Virginia Tech. They got to play Syracuse. They start the season off against Virginia Tech. That's not going to be. They do play Miami and they do play Clemson, so they play both. And the ACC. Those are the top dogs right there. And so if you can get through your non-conference games, which are tough, and then you're going to play those two teams, Louisville is probably going to be good this year too. So Florida State, they got to play Notre Dame. They got to play Florida. They got to play at Notre Dame, which is going to be a tough one. So maybe that'll be the game they drop before the game they go into the Florida game on November 24th. So it'll be tough. The back half of that schedule is definitely tough. I mean, I think they play. Okay, they have a couple. They play NC State, who's not no schlub. I mean, they play Miami, then they play Wake Forest at home. That should be a win. They play Clemson at home. That'll be a tough one. And then they play NC State before going to Notre Dame. So that could be a tough 4-week stretch right there, starting with the Miami game or 5-week stretch even, starting with that Miami game going into Notre Dame. Because even if say you get whacked in that Miami game and you're coming off of a tough loss, you can get stunned again at home by Wake Forest. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't expect it. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't. It would not be that crazy. You never know there, especially with the situation they have, like I said, at quarterback with the volatility between. So Willie Taggart's got to make a decision there. Another one, Clemson. They got to play Texas A&M this year. They're playing South Carolina this year out of conference. They do play Georgia Southern, so and Furman. So Furman, I wouldn't really worry about Furman, but they do have to go to College Station. They got to go play Jimbo Fisher in his first year at College Station. That's going to be a really good one. That's September 8th. I bet you it's going to be all over national TV. Dabo Swinney against Jimbo Fisher will be a really fun one to watch. And then they have to play with South Carolina, and I think South Carolina this year is going to be watch them have a very good record against tough teams. They might step on their own foot a couple times against some of the lower teams in the SEC, but they're going to battle against some of these tough teams. I mean, looking at their schedule, being in the SEC, I think they're in the SEC East, so you got to play Florida and Georgia. But South Carolina, their schedule, they might stumble against Georgia. I think they could definitely compete against. They could definitely compete against Florida, but then they have that game, like I said, to Clemson. They can give Clemson a little run for their money. I think Kelly Bryant is not. I mean, with the South Carolina defense, the way they usually figure out their pass rush is usually pretty good. Maybe this is the program that brought us Jadeveon Clowney and such. So I think that they could do anything pretty much. I mean, yeah, they do play Georgia at home. That's early in the season. It's week 2, so they can get that one out of the way, and then they don't play Florida until the end of the year. And then the last game of the year, obviously. So that Clemson game is their interstate rivalry. So I mean, that could be a good one to finish off the season with South Carolina. Georgia Tech, they got a rough one as they have to go. Their toughest game on the non-conference will be at Georgia to finish off the season. Obviously, they're one of those ACC teams playing a SEC team in a interstate rivalry game. They also play South Florida and Bowling Green. South Florida, they'll be on the road, so it could be a tough one as Charlie Strong down there, as they are going to be pretty talented and well coached. Obviously, Charlie Strong knows what he's doing, as the South Florida Bulls look to stun the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. All right, Arizona State. They have to play Michigan. Make that Michigan State. That's September 8th. That's week 2. So Michigan State, Arizona State. I'm gonna probably say it's a loss. Obviously you got Herm Edwards in there. He's going to have those guys ready, but it's going to be a tough one for them as they will start out. It'll be at home, so you never know. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun game to watch. And then the next week they have to go to San Diego State. Not a very far little hop, skip, jump over to Southern California, but another game on the road, a big stadium like that, could be a tough one. Obviously, Rashad Penny's gone, but they have a new running back, Juwan Washington, could be a problem for ASU against San Diego State. So that's a tough one for them there, as they're going to have those games all in a row. They'd also play UTSA San Antonio as the first game of the season, a non-conference. Stanford usually has a tough I wouldn't say tough non-conference schedule necessarily. They do play San Diego State again. They did lose to them last year. They're playing them at home, little revenge game. They do have to play UC Davis. That should be fine this season, but they do play Notre Dame, as always, every year. They're going to be at Notre Dame this season, September 29th, at Notre Dame, and That's always a fun one to watch. Always usually a low-scoring affair. Really a battle of the trenches. I mean, this is best on best offensive lines in the season. Also best on best minds. I mean, these guys, these recruits are not just your normal recruits. These are guys who are academically disciplined. These are guys who can go through a very rigorous schedule that is created for them at both of these schools and these programs. I mean, you can go talk to Richard Sherman. You can go talk to Brady Quinn, who was the quarterback at Notre Dame, and they'll tell you how hard it is to be such a good student that they expect you to be at those colleges, and then also be a top tier football player that they expect, because those programs have been very good for a while. And Stanford just got good. I mean, probably a decade ago, but Notre Dame football, you don't mess around with Notre Dame football. You got to be good, but you also got to be good in class too. You got to be a good gentleman. All right, that'll wrap it up for this segment. We'll come back and do some more of this talk on the toughest schedules. Stanford does have a tough one. I mean, I wouldn't say UC Davis is a big tough one, but they do have to play San Diego State again and revenge their loss from last year before they head out to Notre Dame to end that month of September and at Notre Dame. So if they get through that one, they'll probably be nice sledding through the Pac-12, as it's kind of a down year for the Pac-12. Obviously, Washington hopes to take advantage of that, but USC, UCLA both kind of rebooting with new quarterbacks, and then we'll see how Utah and Colorado end up. Colorado could be good, but we'll see. As we'll come back, we'll do more talk about it on the other side. So hold on, stay tuned.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back, GSMC Football Podcast, the college football edition today on a Friday, as we're going to finish up our week here. What's this? Is still the first week in June, I guess, because June 1st was the Friday. First full week of June, as we are into summertime now. Texas also has a tough schedule. They're going to play Maryland to start off their season, actually, at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. It just says Landover, Maryland. I'm like, that's where the Redskins play. They're playing at FedEx Field, which is massive, by the way. Then they play Tulsa, and they play USC, which is going to be a fun one. Oh, cannot wait for Texas USC. That's September 15th, I think, or September 15th. That'll be a fun one. That's week 3 of the season, so that'll be a good one. I'm sure it'll be all over national television, and it'll be fun to watch because, both those teams, young quarterbacks, coaches still haven't really decided. Texas has kind of been underwhelming for the last few years when they should be up there. And these are two storied programs. Obviously, we all remember back in 2006 with the national championship game, Vince Young. Against Pete Carroll and Reggie Bush. That was one of the best games you could watch and one of the better performances you could watch from a quarterback for Texas to win that game. But this is now a new chapter in this rivalry, obviously, with both these teams trying to figure out. By week 3, hopefully they'll kind of have more confidence in the quarterback that they decide to choose. Watch if JT Daniels. Imagine JT Daniels, a guy who should be a senior in high school, would be next year, going into I think the game's in Austin. It's in Austin. That's going to be a fun one. Obviously, we just talked about that game because USC is on this list as well as tough when it comes to tough non-conference games. What's not to like? Texas, USC, storied rivalry. I mean, USC is ridiculous. They have, I think they're rivals. I feel like they're rivals with everybody. Stanford, Notre Dame, Cal. I mean, Texas, UCLA. They have 5 different rivals that they. I mean, obviously some of them are in their conference, but even out of conference with Notre Dame, play them every year. Texas, honestly, I feel like they should play Texas every year too. That'd be great for college football, but. I mean, it's kind of tough to schedule 2 non-conference games the same ones every year. I mean, the fact that they play Notre Dame plays Stanford and USC, the 2 private schools out west every year, is cool enough already. So I'll take that one. Texas can go deal with their Big 12 schedule this season. I think Tom Herman, he's kind of waiting. Obviously, he expects to win. He's been a winner at everywhere he's gone, seemingly. He was the big. Sexy, high-touted coach sexy coach pick that was supposed to be. I mean, meaning that like he was the one everybody thought, and he was the one that they wanted. I mean, it's back. I remember Texas always seems to do this. They thought it was the same kind of thing with Charlie Strong when they brought him over. He was winning with Louisville. They bring him over. Oh, they give him 2 years, 3 years at Texas, I think, which is not even fair because he was dealing with Mac Brown's recruiting class. Obviously the last recruiting class from Mac Brown that he had, and he barely was able to get his own guys in there. He's barely able to go and recruit his own crop of players. I mean, you're in Texas, one of the better, if not the best. Well, Florida, Alabama is pretty good too, but there's a lot in Ohio. There's a lot of good players in Texas though, and they didn't allow him to go out and at least get one class through the program. I mean, the first year you're there, you're dealing with the other coaches' recruits, then you do one recruits. Okay, now the next year they're freshmen. Then the third year, okay, you have 2 recruiting classes of freshmen and sophomores, and that's it. You're done because you couldn't win with the freshmen and sophomores that you just had recruited. I mean, how long was he there for? Yeah, 2014 to 2016, 3 years. I mean, that's Texas is annoying sometimes with their boosters and Red McCombs and all that stuff, calling for people's heads and things. But the fact that you could, what was his record? I mean, his record wasn't great at Texas. I get that, but he barely was able to get his own players in there that he had recruited throughout his time. Obviously, the fact that he had left, he was fired in 2016 and at the end of the season, literally like 2 days after the season was over. So I mean, I don't get why they didn't get. I mean, at least give him like another year or 2. I mean, I think the fact they fired him was, I think they knew that Tom Herman was going to become available and become that coach that was going to get picked up by a team. If it wasn't going to be them, it was going to be somebody else to grab Tom Herman from Houston, because Houston is a good school, but they're not a top power. They're not in a Power 5 conference. And when you have a coach that's winning that well, kind of like a Justin Fuente, same thing. I think he at Memphis. When you have a young coach who's transcendent kind of coach, you need to grab him, and that's what they did at Texas. And you get them credit. They went and got the coach they wanted. I mean, when you feel like Texas football, they're one of the only, I think, if not the only program that has their own TV network. I mean, this is how big their athletic program and in general is. I mean, they have their tops in a lot of different sports. So not just about football. It's a lot about football in Texas, but I mean, they also care about their basketball, baseball, everything. So I mean, big sports school. And you also could go get a class taught to you by Matthew McConaughey if you want to go take a acting class or a film class. Matthew McConaughey also teaches there too. So just FYI, if anybody's looking to go to Texas. But yeah, they have a tough non-conference schedule. As far as regular schedule goes, I don't know if I look at Texas's schedule maybe a couple weeks ago. I was commenting on Texas their schedule, but this season, I mean, in the Big 12. You're going to have your games against Kansas. You're going to have your games against. I mean, Baylor honestly should be good this year. They got that quarterback who's supposed to be the next kind of another next Baker Mayfield down there in Waco. But I mean, you're going to play. You're going to play your Texas Tech, which is kind of down. Iowa State. You're going to play your Kansases. I mean, this year honestly, it's not the easiest schedule. They got to play TCU. They got to play Baylor, who's supposed to be up. They got to play Oklahoma. Obviously, you're going to play Oklahoma State. And both those schools. West Virginia is supposed to be good, so they're playing West Virginia at home, fortunately, and Kansas on the road. So the easy games are on the road. Texas Tech's another school where Cliff Kingsbury's got to get it figured out, or he's not going to look very good there, and it's not going to last very long at Texas Tech either. So this Texas schedule, honestly, I don't see very many wins. I see them playing West Virginia, who has a quarterback. I see Ohio, maybe Oklahoma State, they can steal one. They still need to figure out a quarterback. I think they actually have a quarterback to replace Mason Rudolph. Baylor has their quarterback. Oklahoma at least has their quarterback for this season, assuming Kyler Murray wants to play. We're going to do a lot of Kyler Murray talk at in the second half of the show, as there's more and more news coming out with him, and I'll give you my take, obviously. I think I've given you part of my take. I'll give you the rest of my take on the deal with Colin Murray as we finish up the show. We go through the show today. But when it comes to Texas football, navigating that, the Big 12 is getting a little better. This year I think the Big 12 should be pretty good. Even though you did lose Baker Mayfield, you're going to have Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State hopefully can get a quarterback that is as good as Mason Rudolph, and they can shore up their defense, because I feel like that's what every game is a shootout in the Big 12. So Texas is the problem. They have trouble scoring points. So and then when they do score points, their defense just happens to be pretty porous that game. So if they can figure that out and spin it around, where if they have a good defense and they have a good offense, they'll win a bunch of games. But looking at their schedule, I'm not seeing very many wins. Maybe they should beat that. They should beat Maryland, even though it's in a big stadium on the road, big opener there in FedEx Field. They played Tulsa, should win that game. USC, that's a toss-up because of the fact that USC's quarterback situation is up in the air too. TCU, but it's probably a loss even at home. I think this is a better team. They can take Kansas State, but that's on the road. Kansas State plays really good in Manhattan, and at that stadium they play very good under their coach comes back, Coach Snyder. Oklahoma at home, toss-up because of the quarterback situation. If Kyler Murray plays still, then I think I'd take Oklahoma in that one. I probably would take Baylor even at Texas, because I just don't know the quarterback situation. Baylor has a stud coming in to play quarterback for them this season, and with that offense they run there, he should be able to shred defenses in the Big 12. I don't think they're going to beat Oklahoma State on the road. Honestly, I don't think they're going to beat West Virginia at home either. This is they're playing a lot of home games. If they could beat Oklahoma at home, that'd be great. But I think that West Virginia game is going to be a loss. Texas Tech, that's a toss-up. Iowa State, they should beat Iowa State at home, and then they should beat Kansas on the road. So, but that's when you're saying should beat them, I've said it, how many times did I say it? 4 times? Maybe 5? Maybe 3 or 4 times. They should beat Maryland, they should beat Tulsa, and they should beat Iowa State, and they should beat Kansas. So that's the first 2 games of the season and the last 2 games of the season. Their whole middle of their schedule is tough. They have a tough stretch here, as they're going to play Oklahoma, Baylor, Texas. They're going to play Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia in a 4-week stretch. And then Texas Tech right after that. But a 4-week stretch of tough teams that are going to be pretty good this season. Assuming all their players are there, Kyler Murray. But yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Texas, good luck, Tom Herman. Best of luck there. As we'll come back and we're looking at more of these non-conference games. Louisville, obviously, I think they should be top of this list. They got to play Alabama this year, as Louisville is going to play Alabama at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, September 1st. That should be a fun one there. Big stadium down there in Orlando, and then they play Indiana State. That should be a win. Western Kentucky, and then they play Kentucky as well. So they've got a bunch of both schools in interstate rivalries there. They should be able to. I think they should be able to handle those middle 2 games. The Kentucky game will be a fun one. That'll be a good rivalry there. But and that's to finish the season off too. So the first 3 games though are Alabama, Indiana State, and Western Kentucky. So they should win 2 out of the 3. I think they'll get beat by Alabama because it's Alabama. But those middle 2 games, I don't know, they shouldn't be that bad. The Western Kentucky could be tricky because of the offense they run. The matchups could be a little weird, but Alabama should be the game that they need to focus on, and maybe even imagine if they stun Alabama in game 1. That'd be crazy. If they had, you kind of wish that they still had. Lamar Jackson, obviously he's now a Baltimore Raven, but they kind of wish they had him against Alabama. We'll see. That'll be a number. Not only will that game be cool, obviously I think we'll know who the starter is for the Crimson Tide before that, but if it's Tua, that'd be crazy to have Tua Tagovailoa in that first game against Louisville go off in Florida, playing in Florida, which is kind of cool, in the nationally televised game. Another reason Tua Tagovailoa on national TV, making money for the SEC and the NCAA. Is he going to see any of that? Nope. He just gets the best education Alabama can supply. Don't get me on the soapbox again. And then the final one is UCLA, who has an interesting little start to their season. They're going to play Cincinnati at home before going to Norman, Oklahoma to play the Sooners. That'll be an interesting one with Chip Kelly's first year in Westwood. The Bearcats are no slouch. They usually have a very good program over there. I mean, they're going to play them at home, which is nice. But if they drop that first, that could be a tough one. If they drop that one at home to Cincinnati, I would not. I would put my money on Oklahoma for that second game. I probably would anyway, especially when Kyler Murray's there. I don't know. I'm saving my Kyler Murray talk. I still have more to say about that, and we'll do that in the next few segments. So we'll actually wrap this up, and we'll come back and talk Kyler Murray after the break. So everybody stay tuned.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to GSMC Football Podcast, the College Football Edition, segment number 3 today. As I might go in another column, Kyler Murray rant alert. I don't know. Why risk it? You're not. If you were like a drop back and pass quarterback with a good offensive line, you could try and stay more, not get hit as much, stay clean in the pocket and everything. No. He's not. That's not what he is. He's a runner. His legs are as good as his arm. I mean, if not better. And, so, I mean, he's going to be running the ball a lot. And you see his film from Ohio State. He runs the read option. I mean, he's going to be doing a lot of keepers, maybe a lot of design quarterback runs. And when you run as a quarterback, you're going to get tackled. You're not going to run out of bounds every time. You're not going to get a touchdown every time. You will get tackled. You will get hit. There are talented players in college football. They're big guys. I mean, Oklahoma, you play in the Big 12. I mean, you're going to play Texas. You're going to play Oklahoma State, obviously. You're going to play teams that have big linebackers, big safeties that want to whack you. I mean, that's the thing. You think they don't know that you're making $5 million from the Oakland Athletics because you got drafted? You think they don't know that? I mean, I'm sure there's not a kid. I mean, I don't doubt it, but I also don't want to hope it happens because that's kind of nasty. But you think a kid out there is like, oh, this guy thinks he's the bee's knees, the SHIT, he's the dude, and he's gonna go play baseball. He thinks he can do both. He can try and ball with us and go back and play baseball. Why don't we go show him what football is gonna do to him? And oops. Torn ACL. Oops. Tore up his ankle. Oops. Shoulder. Baseball career done. Bye. 5 minutes. I mean, it's a risk. It's an absolute risk. Football is a collision sport. The contact sport, yes. Baseball has contact. You get beamed. You get run into the first baseman, collisions, the outfield, everything. Those are all fluky kind of things that happen once in a while. Football, every single play. Every single play. I mean, yes, of course, you could run out of bounds. You could run and you could score a touchdown, blah, blah, blah. 95% of the plays, somebody's going to get whacked and tackled. And every single tackle, there's an opportunity for an injury to happen. It's a collision sport. You got pads. No, you're a collision. It's a collision sport. You're running hard at him. He's running hard at you. Boom. Collision. Torn ACL. Busted knee. Torn labrum. AC sprain, AC joint sprain. I mean, there's so much. How many injuries can I list off? It's just broken. I mean, ribs they can come back from that. But I mean, any limb. I mean, his legs are valuable. His arms valuable. Baseball, you need everything. You swing, you hit, you run, you play outfield, you catch the ball. I mean, anything. A fluky thing can happen. He could be throwing a football and have his hand on the fall through, hit one of his offensive linemen's helmets, and he breaks his fingers. Now what? I mean, yeah, you hope you obviously you can come back, but why? You're getting paid handsomely. You are been deemed the 9th best player in the entire draft. You know how many players got drafted? 1,320 something, I think. I just read it because they were talking about. I don't know, I'm not going to bring that up, but that's how many players got drafted in the Major League Baseball. There's 40 rounds. And competitive balanced rounds as well. Compensation picks, everything. Over 1,300 players got picked, and he was deemed the 9th best player in that draft. He was picked 9th by the A's. So, I mean, and I've already talked about the A's and how, honestly, not a bad team to get picked by because they have a great farm system. They have a great player development system. They usually... you get to the league you get to the majors fast if you're good enough with the A's because they don't really have big stars in the way anyways. They ship him out. They get rid of him. Look at the A's roster now. Matt Chapman, where'd he come from? Oh, he was a top prospect. I think he was a first round draft pick. I can go double check that. Matt Olson, same thing. Who the heck's that? This is a college football show, Tom. What are you talking about? Why are you talking about A's prospects right now? Because I'm telling you that Kyler Murray could be in the major leagues in like a year or two. He could. Very easily. In the NFL, he's a running back. He's 5'11". Sorry, 5'11". He's not playing quarterback. It's not happening. We were upset at Baker Mayfield. We're skeptical about him. He's 2 inches taller than him. You have linemen who are 6'7". On the defensive side and the offensive side. With big arm spans. Batting balls down. How many quarterbacks do we have under 6'3" in the league? Two, and they're crazy, fluky, world-class athletes, Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. That's always going to be our comparison, because obviously they're both transcendent players, great players, but that's the reason why, because they have the work ethic, they have the ability to do it. There's been short quarterbacks in the NFL before. Johnny Manziel gone. I mean, Derek Carr is a little bit on that level too, but we're seeing where he's going to end up. But everybody else, tall, strapping, young, good arm. I mean, yeah, he's a running back. Go watch his film. The guy's got short little strides. I mean, he can get away. He's got great separation speed. He kind of runs a little upright. I think they need to get his pad level down if he really wants to play football. But you don't. You're hitting 295 with 10 home runs. You have a great glove in the outfield. You're fast. Fast in baseball is a absolute lightning track to the major leagues. There's guys in there who can't hit a lick on a Major League Baseball team right now. Can't hit. Go look up Billy Hamilton's batting average. But he walks. He gets on base. He's a terrorizer. I mean, he'll be on first base. He might be on third 2 pitches later. You don't know. He might be on third a pitch later because he stole second base. The ball went into center field and he goes to third. Boom! It happens. It happens. Kyler Murray could be the next guy, and he can get paid a lot of money for it. Baseball contracts are fully guaranteed, baby. Football, if he's lucky, this is his second contract, not his rookie contract. This is his second contract. He will get a contract probably. I'm just going to throw numbers out there, where say hypothetically, say he gets a $45 million contract, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to even say years, but he gets $45 million contract full. The guarantee will probably be around 20, maybe 25 if you're lucky. Baseball, you get a $45 million contract, you're getting every penny of that, no matter what. No matter if you get hit by a pitch and break your hand and are out for a month, or you tear up your knee and you're out for the year, you're getting your money. Getting it. Thank you. I'll go rehab this knee and hopefully come back. Football, sorry. You can have half of it, the guaranteed money, if you have a good agent at least. And then the rest of it, you're nope. Nope. This makes this no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. You were the 9th pick overall. Unless you are John Elway, literally John Elway, then, and you're going to go, you're a big strapping quarterback with a cannon that, you're going to go play football probably because you're just that, you're going to be that good. Kyler has not played a meaningful snap in college football yet. John Elway had to make a decision. He played both at Stanford. He did not accept the draft. He probably did get, I'm assuming he got drafted every year probably. He was at Stanford, and even out of high school, he probably was drafted. That's how good of a player he was. But he stayed, went to school, played baseball. That's the thing. I just don't think he ever had a $5 million check slid across the table to him that Kyler Murray is going to have. And the fact that they're letting him play is great for Kyler, but honestly, it could be the worst thing for Kyler. It could be the worst thing for Kyler, the fact that they let him play. Honestly, they should make him make the decision. No, you got to choose. And you got to choose now. You don't get to try and feel it out for a year, go play for the Sooners, and you're going to miss. The thing is, you're going to miss. You're probably a great, talented football player, a baseball player. You've been doing both sports for a while now. You're good at both sports. You did it in high school, done it in college. But when you get to the pro level, everything's faster. Every level you go up. And Arizona Fall League is very, very valuable for young players. Very valuable for young players. And like I said, the A's probably one of the better teams to draft him because he can get through their farm system quickly. They have a very good player development system with them. Good coaches there in their farm system. They groom players excellently. Even you see the A's right now. You go look at if you're not a baseball fan, go look at the A's record right now, and then go look at their payroll. Go look at that, the disparity of it. I think they're actually like close to 500 right now. They're playing decent baseball with a ragtag starting rotation because they hit the ball. Their highest, they have like one veteran player on their team. Actually they have Jonathan Lucroy, who's pretty good. Chris Davis, and that's about it. And everybody else is homegrown, good talent. And then you see guys go off to different teams. Sonny Gray's on the Yankees, Ryan Healy's on the Mariners. Josh Donaldson's on the Blue Jays. They go off to different teams, and that's where they get their second contracts because the A's won't pay them. So you're going to go and you're going to get teams. You're not going to have to wait for your home team to try and decide how much they're going to pay you. If you're good enough and you get through your first few seasons with the A's and you are as good as Kyler Murray can be because of the tools he has in baseball, the guy's fast. That's what's going to get him. He's fast and he plays a good outfield. He can go get the ball and he has power. He has 10 home runs. 10 home runs for the Sooners this year. He's in 295. It's college baseball. That's good. It means when you 10 home runs is not a fluke. That means he's got a good swing. He gets a good launch angle. That's all we're all saying that now. If you're not a baseball fan, you're not really probably privy to the new wave of everybody's launch angle and exit velocity. Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he's playing with a metal bat in college, so we'll have to see him with a wood bat. Would be interesting, but we don't get to yet until probably spring training next year when he's going to be playing in the minor league spring training, which means he's going to miss spring football probably, or he'll come late, assuming when Oklahoma's is throughout that spring football window. But we're not going to see him hit with a wood bat in fall because he's going to play in football. No Arizona Fall League. Maybe he can. If Oklahoma's good enough, he can't even go play winter ball if he wanted to because they're going to be playing all the way through December and January. So it's just. You expect them even to, obviously get through December and watch him go play baseball during that 3-week period between the bowl games. That'd be hilarious. But, the fact that you're going to say, I'm going to go play 1 year, cross my fingers I don't get hurt catastrophically, which, we absolutely do not want to wish upon him at all. We want to wish Kyler the best. But I'm just saying, if you are being blessed with this ability to play both sports, you got to love it. It's a great thing to have as a young player. But if you are, again, then doubly blessed by to be picked 9th overall and have a $4.75 million check slid across to you to play professional baseball, you got to just take that and run with it. I read that quote from Bo Jackson on Wednesday saying, "Yeah, you got to focus." Specialize is the word I usually use because like for high school players, they got to specialize in one sport if they want to really push and try and get into a D1 school with a scholarship. You got to specialize in one sport unless you're crazy like Colin Murray and you can do both. Obviously, he's a world class athlete. That kid is, but yeah. He's got to focus. I don't know. Specializing is over, but he's got to focus on one. And he's his future. I mean, I've even seen reports out saying people close to him know that his future is in baseball. And if he was 6'3", even 6'2", or even 6'1", because of his abilities, his talents, then I'd say go give it a shot. But you're not. You're 5'11". You're too short. Sorry, buddy. You're a very good baseball player. Go make your millions in the major leagues because it's actually a lot easier, and you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to get. I mean, you will get hurt. You can get hurt in baseball. There's actually a lot of there's some injury problems happening in baseball a lot right now, but you're not going to get whacked every time you run a read option or a keeper quarterback run. So you're not going to get a linebacker or a safety coming 100 miles an hour at you. The worst thing that can happen is if your right fielder doesn't hear you, call the ball off, and he hits you, or if you get beamed, or if you slide in second base wrong, or something like that. So, I mean, baseball, there's contact in baseball, believe me, but there's a lot less, quite a lot less. I mean, exponentially less. So, that's my rant on Colin Murray. It lasts about 15 minutes, which is perfect, because that's the end of the segment today. And we'll come back after the break for the fourth segment, and we'll bounce around some college football news, maybe do even a little more talk on the decision that Kyler Murray will have to make. I mean, I think he's already made it. They're letting him play football. He's going to play this season. I think it's going to come till I think we'll have to wait till after the season to find the real decision, which I think already, again, has been made because he's saying, I just want to play one, then I'll go play baseball. No. Okay. Give me a break, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to GSMC Football Podcast, the college football edition. Last segment of the day, last segment of the week. Hope everybody's got a good weekend planned. I know I do. Baseball and, more work, of course, because of it's a work weekend for me. But baseball, definitely be watching a lot of baseball. Be paying attention to this Kyler Murray story, which, I mean, you want to say it's still developing, blah, blah, blah. No. I mean, he's going to sign his contract. He's going to sign with the A's. He's not going to decline that. I mean, he could, honestly. He could if he really wanted to, and then try and see, roll the dice and see if you can. I think the first pick might be $7 million or something like that. First pick overall, but I would not test the devil like that. I would not test the baseball gods. Would not test the sports gods like that at all. You got to pick top 10. Try and get. I mean, that'd be crazy to decline that and then go top 10 again. That's not going to happen. I think he's already even said that he's going to do both and sign with the A's. So I mean, I do want to get. I mean, we're seeing reports out daily about this. I wouldn't call it an issue, but the deal obviously is 4.7 and change. It will allow him to. They are allowing him to play for the Sooners this season. He does have to meet the requirement, though. He has to go to class. That's the deal. You can't stop going. I mean, yeah, you're a professional athlete technically now. You have signed with a pro baseball team. You're a professional athlete, but you're still an amateur. And don't get me started on that. The rule's good, but the rule should be extended and amended, because it's not fair. No, life's not fair, Tom. No, but that's come on, guys. Oh, because he's good at baseball, he can go make money off of his baseball career and then still play college football. But if he's good at college football but not that good at baseball, but he's a visible person, he can't go make money off of the fact that he's good at college football with endorsements or signing autographs or anything. Nothing. Sanction. Boom. Sanction. I mean, NCAA's got to make sure the money is controlled, because it has to be a frenzy. They can control. At least we know it's a very rare thing for these top college football player like this to get drafted first. It happens pretty much every year. There's at least a couple different guys. I mean, Johnny Manziel got drafted, but I mean, this is the first time we've seen a player of this. Visibility, the magnitude of it is this high, especially with the fact that he's coming in after Baker. Oklahoma has been in the college football playoff now. They got Lincoln Riley, so it's all very much in the forefront of our site right now when it comes to sports talk. And yeah, it's just crazy. I can go and rant about that rule over and over again. It's almost like a double standard. So what if he was good at singing? Like, could he go get a singing career? I don't know. It's just if you have to have it. Basically, if you're Tua Tagovailoa, I'm like, can I just have another talent, please? Yeah, can I have? You have to develop another talent in order to actually make money while you're playing college football, huh? You got to be good at another sport. I see how it is. Double standard. Yeah, that's really all it is on Kyler Murray. They're going to play him. The A's are going to let him play. I mean, it's also the thing with the A's. The A's have to make a decision too. It says he told the Oakland officials that he's going to put off baseball and play college. But yeah, play college and honor his commitment to Oklahoma, but just for the year, just for 1 year. And we'll see. Yeah, we're going to honor your commitment and also take a massive risk. Massive risk. I mean, I don't think he's going to have any. I mean, with medical advancements these days, career-ending injuries aren't like super rare. I mean, super regular. They're becoming more and more rare because guys are able to rehab back from even the most drastic injuries you could have. I mean, I don't know. The tight end, is Zach Miller going to play, or was he done? Because I mean, he almost got his leg cut off. He almost had to have his leg cut off because of the way it was hurt. I mean, that could be a career-ending injury, but they were able to save his leg, and we'll see. I mean, now you always wonder if can he actually get back on the field. I mean, well, I can find that out. But I mean, it's just interesting how you can have a situation where a Major League Baseball team has to despite. I mean, so it says Zach Miller has not given up his. I mean, he's going to have to come back. He's going to try and come back, but it's going to take a while. So hopes to still play in the NFL again. Yeah. So, I mean, that's Zach Miller. That's my one example of a catastrophic injury that can happen and sideline you for a while. I mean, I don't know. Can the A's revoke? I have to find that out. If the A's can revoke that deal, the $5 million deal, if he does get hurt playing college football. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's interesting. I would be like, deuces, Oklahoma. I'm going to go make millions. I mean, not that rookie ball is that. I mean, honestly, for as far as like comfortability of it, like, you know, it's kind of weird because these programs now, especially the top tier college football programs, are basically like playing for a pro team. Here you have a multitude of staff. You got great facilities. Your chartered flights. College, I mean, minor league baseball is the opposite of that. It's not that. It is buses. It's basically just you and your team. It's not like that at all. So there's not really a big support system. It's just kind of get better and get up to the pros as fast as possible. And the thing with Kyler is he has the ability to do that. He can do that very easily. He plays outfield, number one, which has 3 positions. Play any outfield position. It could fill a spot. He can run. He can hit. He can catch. He's 5 tools. He's got power, average, everything. 5-tool player. 9th pick overall. Very good baseball player. Can get to the majors very quickly, even quicker probably because of his speed and the dynamic ability of that. And then, again, like I said, you play well for 2-3 years with the A's. You ready for your next contract? Oh, you're on the open market because the A's aren't going to re-sign you probably. You're going to be up for grabs for a team that might have to battle with another team and jack the price up of your contract just to get you. That's the beauty of baseball. I mean, it's just you're kind of a commodity in baseball, and football you're not. So I mean, I think he knows that though. He wants to honor his commitment to Oklahoma. Great. The thing is, Oklahoma doesn't need you don't need Oklahoma anymore, buddy. You don't need him. You don't. Yeah, honor your commitment all you want, but run out of bounds every time, please. The last thing I want to see is you get injured. Please, the last thing I want to see is you get injured because I think he's going to be good for baseball in the next few years here. I mean, he's still a very raw young prospect, but it's just crazy because it is. Play baseball, no question. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I like I just said, I do understand maybe being more comfortable in the Sooners playing the Arizona Fall League isn't all great. I mean, the other thing is if you love playing baseball, which I'm sure he does, that's baseball at its purest. I advise you if you're a college football and baseball fan, you go to, I mean, if you have a chance, obviously go to spring training, number one, in Arizona. But the Arizona Fall League is interesting. It's the top prospects, and they're all playing together, and it's good quality baseball, actually. So Kyler Murray is going to miss out on that, obviously, with the fact that he's playing for the Sooners and going to play quarterback. So Lincoln Riley, what do you do if you're Lincoln Riley? That's kind of big pressure. I mean, I think you kind of just go the same way you would go anyways. That's got to be some pressure on you if you are a coach knowing that you have a quarterback that already has $5 million in his pocket for another sport, and he could technically lose it if he gets succumbs to an injury for your team. If you make what if Lincoln Riley calls one too many read options or one too many quarterback keepers, or what if he actually gets things? I mean, I don't think he's going to get that. I don't think he's going to overthink it that much. Honestly, he's there to win football games. That's his job is to win football games for the University of Oklahoma. But when you have a quarterback, and I mean, it's in the back of your head. You know that he has a future in a different sport. I mean, you're kind of keyholing and pitching. I mean, putting your coach in a corner where, I mean, I don't think he's really going to change his game plans or his play calling that much, but he could. There's a chance. There's a definite chance that he could. It could be. What if Kyler Murray's parents are like, hey, coach, can you just like not expose our son so much this season? Like, we're here because we said we'd be here earlier. We didn't know it was going to be this good for baseball. Like, but we now know, obviously, and we want to make sure that he's chill because he can make more money in baseball. And like I said, yeah, playing Oklahoma is great, but I mean, dude, you can't just grind it out for 2 years in minor league baseball, and once you're in the show, you're in the show, and then you grind it out 2 more years at Cruddy A Stadium, which, I mean, they could have a new one by the time he gets to the pros. You never know, and then you're going to go somewhere else. You're probably going to find a team and get signed to a nice contract because, I mean, just knowing his tools, knowing what he can do, he's not going to be on the A's very long. Unless he wants to take a cheap contract, but I doubt it. And he'll go play for a bigger market team. But that's obviously way in the future, way in the future. I just don't think that he should play football. It's just not even a question mark. Too many risks, too many injuries, putting too much. I mean, I don't think it's honestly. It's a little unrealistic that it is putting pressure on Lincoln Riley. But the fact that there's even a chance that it could put pressure on Lincoln Riley, with the fact that, yeah, your quarterback isn't just here for, he's got bigger, I mean, that's not even the main problem is the play calling. It's the fact that your quarterback, the leader of your team, has got bigger fish to fry. He does. Whether he wants it, treats it like that or not, he has bigger fish to fry. Circumstantial. He has bigger fish to fry in his career, and it has nothing to do with being on a football field. It has everything to do with staying healthy and being able to hit and catch and run on a baseball field, because that's where he's going to make his cash, and that's where I think he knows he's going to make his cash. But of course, he loves playing football. It's always about the love of the game. Great. Just stay healthy, buddy. Stay healthy and go play baseball. Go get invited to spring training. Go play a rookie ball for a little bit. See what you can do. I mean, I could go back to the Bo Jackson quote, because he's the only guy who's really. I mean, Deion Sanders did it, I know too, but the talent pool is quite up there. And you haven't played a snap yet in college football, and you haven't played an inning on professional baseball field either. So there's lots to be figured out, and lots more to be talked about as I digress here at the end of the show here on a Friday, as we're going to wrap it up here. Did a lot of talk on these some tough non-conference games. A lot of them obviously to start the season. Some of them have the games at the end of the year with those big interstate rivalries like Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia State, Kentucky, and Louisville. What's another one? USC and Stanford are playing at the end of the year. I mean, the beginning of the year. But, Notre Dame, USC, that's not an interstate game, but that's the big game every year, whether it's going to be Notre Dame going to Stanford or going to USC at the end of the season. So they play every year non-conference. And then, of course, the Kyler Murray rants for about 15 minutes each. All right, we'll wrap it up. Back on Monday for some more college football talk. We'll see if there's any more news from the Kyler Murray camp regarding what he decides to do. I think obviously he's going to has already made his decision regarding what he's going to do this year. But we're going to try and speculate as far as what is going to come for him in the future, assuming he does stay healthy, and all hoping he does. As he is going to be a great guy to watch on both the football field. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him play football too, no doubt, but definitely on the baseball field as well. All right, everybody have a good weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.